Since since the time that I've been sewing, I've definitely had a lot of times where someone has brought me a pair of pants and they didn't like the button on the front. And that's something I wouldn't have really thought about until I started sewing for other people. And one of the reasons for that is, especially in the older generation, as they age, it's much harder to get the button through the hole. And so we think in terms of like accessibility. I saw an Instagram post come up on my feed not too long ago from a sewing friend, just talking about how challenging it is for someone, whether it's age or whether it's a disability, to find clothing that fits them well, that's easy to get up and down. Whether it's something like a hip surgery and it's hard to pull fitted pants over the hips, or any number of things, there are a lot of challenges as far as finding shopping for that type of need. And so for this particular pair of pants, I'm removing the button, which was actually not just a sewn in button, it was a grommet. So we used pliers and yeah, a couple pairs of pliers to get them out. Usually I have my husband do it. Sometimes he can drill it out. Sometimes it's pliers. I didn't take a video of that, but this will give you an idea of the solution. So it's actually Velcro. I've done this for small children. Sometimes, especially I noticed it in boys' clothing and jeans, around 5, they stop doing elastic waists and they start putting in buttons, and the little fingers are just not comfortable with the buttons or the snaps at that point. So Velcro is a lot easier. So I've done that, swapped those out in the past. Additionally, another older client, button up shirts were too difficult, but they had dressed that way their entire working career and they had to wear button down shirts because it just made them feel like who they were as a person. And so swapping those buttons out for Velcro was an alternative solution. So here I am using 1 inch Velcro, so it's 1 inch width and about 1.5 inches length. I'm gonna sew it over the original spot where the button was. So obviously hook is gonna go on one side and loop on the other side. And I just stitch right around the edges of that. It would be ideal, of course, if I had matching Velcro, but for this project, it was going to be totally hidden, and I had black Velcro on hand, so I knew that that would work perfectly well. And as you notice, going around, when I get to the corners, I just leave my needle down, lift up the pressure foot, and pivot. And I'm always trying to get it at an angle where I feel like I can control the fabric and it's not all underneath the arm of the sewing machine. So sometimes I will actually do a 360 turn, as you notice just there, to get it repositioned. And here, the thread came out of my needle, so I just have to take a moment to rethread it, which always happens if you don't leave a long enough tail on the needle when you're sewing, before you start sewing. And just make sure that it is fully tacked down, with like the forward backward stitch, because especially with the repeated wear of Velcro being ripped on and off, those extra stitches, you just don't want to compromise them. So make sure that the Velcro is really sewn down well so that it won't come off in use. And one of the challenges that I found when I first started sewing was when you're sewing that hook Velcro, sometimes the thread will actually catch in it. So this time it was perfectly fine. I had no trouble with that. But if you do have trouble with that, a little tip that I learned somewhere was, if you take a piece of tissue paper, like the tissue paper that you would wrap presents with, and lay it over the top of the hook Velcro, and you literally stitch on top of it, then the coarseness of the hook doesn't grab your thread. And at the end, you can just pull the tissue paper right off. So of course, here we have it where my Velcro is all finished and ready to be put to use. Thank you for watching. You can shop tutorials and classes on my website, naomifeda.net. Be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, may God sow his love into your heart today.